Good, Pally.
Sorry, what? Repeat that.
I didn't sing Adam's song. No.
What?
I sang a song from the '80s.
Oh.
It's okay.
No, but no, kind of moderate. That's. Oh shit, my bad. That's Adam Pelivan.
I like Adam.
Yeah, he's dope. Sorry.
Jason, what's your favorite sandwich?
Peanut butter and jelly. My second favorite, grilled cheese.
He is a second favorite. Ooh. Okay, Jason.
I think those are the only two sandwiches I like.
On today's show, we'll get you dancing with a music video made by Pali students at the 2019 STN convention.
Democrats are pushing for the full unredacted Mueller report. We'll tell you how they plan to do it.
And Pali filmmakers show off their cinematic masterpieces last week. We'll have a recap.
All that and more is coming up on today's show. Welcome to INFocus. Today is Friday, April 19th.
I'm Thomas Colburn.
And I'm Jason Goldie.
First, let's check in on what's going on with today's campus bulletin. Changing Our School Week aims to bring the Pali community together through a variety of themes and events throughout next week. The themes for each day are up on the screen. The quad will be full of activities as well as performances for students to enjoy.
The Pali Choir Spring Concert is coming up later this month. It will be at 4 p.m. on April 28th. For more information, contact Senior Cameron Miller. Sports boosters will be selling Pali gear on the quad during lunch next Tuesday. Prices can be found on their website.
Now let's look at today's headlines.
This is today's News Minute.
Democrats want to see more of the Mueller report without redactions. House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler subpoenaed the Justice Department on Friday for the entire document and underlying evidence by May 1st. Attorney General William Barr released the more than 400-page report Thursday with 4 types of redactions. The Justice Department planned to show a select group of lawmakers all of the redactions.
Crazy storms tore through the state of Mississippi on Thursday. In some areas, winds reached up to 100 miles per hour. Possible tornadoes were reported around Jackson. 2 cars in the parking lot of a Walmart in Clinton, Mississippi were flipped on their sides. Authorities confirm at least 2 weather-related deaths in Mississippi.
This year's flu season is a record breaker. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported Friday this flu season is the longest in a decade. The CDC said there have been 21 weeks of elevated flu activity reported in the U.S. That's 1 week longer than the previous 10-year high, which happened during the 2014-2015 season and lasted 20 weeks. Coming up after the break, we'll get a blast from the past and today in history.
INFocus will be right back.
It's regular.
So that's $12. What would you spend that $12 on if you didn't have to spend it on this?
Something to eat. Every day I wake up and I do my daily routine because nobody wants to smell, you know?
It's only a few minutes, like a couple of minutes. I've always just used like paper towels or toilet paper or something like that.
Towels.
Cotton balls work, makeup pads.
I've used socks.
I had an old tank top that was bleached and I stripped it.
I had to go and rinse it out, squeeze it out, dry it, put it back, like 4 times that day.
I have nowhere to shower daily. I have nowhere to keep work clothes. It's not as easy as get a job.
Welcome back.
Jason, I'm sure glad the weekend is here. I think I might have a movie night.
That sounds like a good way to relax on a Friday night, Thomas. But last week on Friday night, Pali students, parents, and staff gathered in the Pack to watch some unique movies.
These films were created by Pali students in Pali Video Production Program.
INFocus reporter Ruben Vinlong was there and has this.
Last Friday was Pali's 6th annual Film and Animations Festival, which showcased films and animations made by Pali students. Video production and graphic design teacher Brett Griffith describes the purpose of the film festival.
The mission of the festival is to celebrate excellence in filmmaking, graphic design, and animation that we make here at Pali up in MAC 202.
The festival features posters and animations from Griffith's graphic design class and films from numerous video production classes, all of which cover a variety of genres.
The types of films that we see cover a variety of genres, movements, kind of styles, looks, but ultimately I think of mood.
Behind each film and animation are students applying creative techniques and appreciating the process of making art. Filmmakers Gerardo Rivera and Max Rosenblum talk about the complex but worthwhile tasks of filmmaking.
It's a really interesting role because you have to put a lot of perspectives in mind. You have to think about how much headspace should the actor have in a certain shot. You got to think about lighting. You got to also think about shutter speed and stuff like that.
What I really like about it is sort of how I get to collaborate with people to make my films and how you can have an idea in your head and then you can have it like see it up on like a huge screen after a lot of work. So that's a really fun experience.
The film festival exhibits the students' hard work on a wide screen for public viewing. That experience of other people watching and critiquing their work can result in students feeling curious and anxious.
It makes me feel curious about what the audience think about what I did. You know, like I want to always like improve my work, and I want to like know what they think about it so I can improve it later on.
I mean, it is definitely a little stressful. Like it's anxious to see because it's like I don't like to watch my own work anyways, just because it's like I notice every single little tiny mistake, and then also I'm just nervous to like see what the audience reaction is going to be.
The film festival would be nothing without an audience, and especially nothing without filmmakers and animators. Brett Griffith encourages students to continue practicing video and graphic design.
I think people can best support filmmaking, graphic design, and animation by being part of the class. It's not so much to be like part of the class, whether you're a person who knows a lot, whether you're just getting started, whether you need to take your art credit, just showing up and being part of that community day in, day out is probably the best way to help support the program.
Through this film and animation festival, Patty students express themselves, show what they have learned in their classes, and affect people with their artworks. For INFocus, I'm Ruben Van Nuon.
What a great story from last week's event, Ruben. You know, Jason, I really enjoy historical movies.
Derek Dong is in the studio with more about the war that made our nation. I hear that some very influential battles took place today. Is that right?
Seems like you've been paying attention in history class, Jason. Today in 1775 was the Battle of Lexington and Concord. On the night of April 18th, the Royal Governor of Massachusetts ordered 700 British soldiers to seize the colonists' military stores in Concord, Massachusetts. At Lexington, the British were met by approximately 70 American Minutemen. In Concord, the British were confronted by 300 to 400 armed colonists. By the end of the day, the colonists were singing Yankee Doodle, and the American Revolution had begun. That's all from me. Back to you.
Thanks for that great tidbit of history, Derek.
Now let's move on to sports.
Derek has taken off his history hat and put on his ball cap, and is back in the studio now with the latest in Pally sports news.
How'd our Vikes do yesterday, Derek?
We did have one victory yesterday. Let's get right to it. Varsity softball made some dingers against Harker and won, 9-6. Today, girls varsity lacrosse will lax to the max against Los Gatos at 5:15 p.m. Catch a game at Los Gatos to see girls JV lacrosse play at 7 p.m. Bumping it over to volleyball, boys varsity volleyball will play against Burlingame at 6 p.m. That's all I got. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Derek.
As we've been reporting, the INFocus crew, including Thomas and I, were fortunate enough to visit the 2019 STN convention in Seattle last month.
We've enjoyed sharing all the great videos we made on site, and we saved the best for last.
To help get the weekend started right, enjoy this music video created by Ori Nirpaz.
Sensitive when all I do is fool around with you. That's okay, I'll be on soon.
Yeah. So
be sure to visit our website to check out all episodes, check the bulletin, or to send us an email.
That's all I said. Have a great day.